Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're here again with another live broadcast. We thank you guys for all tuning in and for all the support. I'm sorry if I'm not able to reach out to everybody. I know in the I got a few comments about collaborations and all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry if I was late to you. I will respond to you. But just again, thank you guys for tuning in. Without further ado, let me just get into the amazing panel I have today. I have a new member on to my left or your right. Cameron, she's here. Would you like to say hello? And I have Xavier here also with me. You've seen him here before. He's been on my previous broadcast before. He's here as well.
Hey y'all.
And last but not least, I have Nakai with me. You typically see her here on Mondays, but she's here on Thursdays. Hopefully we'll be back on schedule for next week. But she's here as well.
Hi guys, thank you guys for tuning in again.
And yes, Miss Nakai and is going to be responding to some of your comments that we had on our previous broadcast that we had. I believe it was last week on Monday. It was understanding cultures, and there was a lot of comments that we wasn't able to get to. So we're just going to be responding to those comments and just kind of giving you guys' thoughts and opinions on everything, just to kind of see where you guys feel. To start, Mikai, there was a comment that you made where we was talking about America being built on us and all that kind of stuff like that. So I know you already restated this for us, but can you, if you don't mind, restating it for us again? Because the comment we have is cis we built this. That's one of the comments. And the other one was America is built off of the blood backs of minorities. Another one says, so
One second, I'm about to leave and come back, okay? So
okay, well, in her absence, Cameron, would you like to kind of see where she's coming from? She said America was on us. I know you heard her talk about it a little bit before we came on here. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, America was definitely not built for minorities purely for the fact that the where everything started was off of taking and never giving. It wasn't ever a fair trade, and it's just because they wanted to be better than everybody else that had been there before because they established a foundation. But it's like going to a neighborhood and somebody already had a plot, but you decide to build your house on their foundation that they put their hard work on, just to say that you were better than them because you built the house. So,
Xavier, do you have anything to add on to that?
I agree with everything Cameron said. I feel like what she said was 100% true, and I think she meant something else, but she kind of worded it the wrong way, and that what caused everything. But yeah.
hi, I'm back. Sorry. Technical difficulties here, I apologize.
So what do you have to say for the comments that is here for you? It says America was built off the blood and backs of minorities. That's one of the ones. I was trying to say them and kind of let you respond to them as I'm saying them.
I literally agree. That's what I was trying to say the whole time. I literally agree. Like, without us as like referring to not even just Black people, referring to Asians, Hispanic, like without us, there would be no America. And so when I made that comment, when I made that comment of America was built on us, not for us, I meant like it was built on the backs of minorities. That's what I was literally agreeing what you were saying, but I was paraphrasing what you were saying. And so I was literally totally agreeing with what you guys were saying. I do not disagree at all. But I'm saying when I said it wasn't built for us, that means the system wasn't created so we could benefit from it. That's what I was saying in so few words. So yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
Well, Joy Williams said in the previous broadcast, she says it shouldn't hold any power. It's ammunition, so they know it made you act like out of character. So, in other words, it shouldn't. That statement shouldn't hold any power against anybody, and shouldn't make you act out of character because you was freaking out.
Wait 1 second. So like, what's the question? I'm sorry. What's the question? Or like,
No,
what is?
she was basically just. This is just your responding to the statement that was made.
So basically like that that word shouldn't hold any power at all is basically what she's saying.
That's what it appears to be.
But it does. But regardless, is if you want it to hold power or not, it does. And it's like the same power of you calling your mom the B word. Like, there's just certain things you don't say and you say to other thing. If you don't, my thing is, if you don't like somebody, there are so many other words in the English language to call somebody outside of the N word or something regarding their skin color. Because what does my skin color have to do with my personality? Like that doesn't necessarily equate anything to me unless I'm literally telling you, hey, I'm better than you because I'm black. You should not. My thing is, you do not need to mention my skin color regarding anything, either my skin color or my ethnicity with anything. That does not need to be a topic of conversation unless we're having a direct conversation or discussion about that. But other than that, you do not need to bring out any racial slurs. Like, there's no reason that should be named at all. But of course, it's in the dictionary. It exists as a negative word to bring people down. That's what it's for. Or like, it wasn't created on a positive standpoint. Same way with the word cracker. Like, we don't just be calling, like, it's like, hey Jojo, what's up, my cracker? Like, no one says that. Like, no one does that, and it's offensive. So I'm not just gonna go up to a random person and call them that because I know it's offensive. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, we know we're not. It's like when we drop the hard er between us. Like, we know we're not supposed to say it, but we say it anyway. I think it's because of conditioning. I had this thing actually on Instagram that said, I want to quote it correctly, so just give me 1 second. It said slavery taught black people how to survive, not how to live, and that's what we pass on to each other. Same thing with that's how I feel it is with the N-word. We know the N-word is a bad word, but we say it because that's just all, not necessarily all we know, but I don't know how to put this. It's more like a greeting. The reason why other people can't say it is because we changed the meaning, and that's why we don't say the er part. We changed the meaning so it could be more of a greeting, or necessarily like let's just say slang. We changed it so it can be slang instead of a racial slur. And that makes sense? Am I making sense? Am I making any type of sense? I feel like I'm rambling. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Cameron, do you have anything to add on to that?
I think when y'all use the N word, it's more of a reclaiming it. not necessarily as, because of course it was brought up on negative terms, but it's like being called a wetback or being called a cracker. But even so, when white people are called crackers, it's not as offensive as the N word, because white people are superior anyways. So the N word, for y'all to use it, it's more of a reclaiming it to make it not so negative, even though it is negative. I mean, that's kind of all I have to say about it, because I don't use it in general just because I know it's negative and I know it's not my right to use it, I guess. I mean, all my family's mixed anyways, so I know that it's just a disrespectful word, and that's how I was raised.
Do you have anything to add on to that?
I agree with Cameron. I feel like we kind of made the word something positive within each other, with each other. Y'all get it. Instead of making it so negative, like, as if somebody else is saying it. I feel like we've made it something as like a greeting, like, hey. So I agree with what Cameron said, and like I feel like we took the power back from the word. Instead of it being so negative, we took the power of the word and made it something more not negative.
Okay, so one thing I will, I guess, a question I would like to ask is, if you understanding the power that this word has, and not just this word, but all derogatory terms against all nationalities and all races, us knowing the power that it has, why do we still say those terms around the opposite races, knowing that it can probably put them in difficult, predicaments, or make them feel uncomfortable? Starting with you, Nakai?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Jojo. Whatever your audio is messing up, or is that just me?
Oh, can everybody hear me clear?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. What I said was the word, all these derogatory terms against all these races. We use it amongst ourselves, but sometimes when other races come in the mix, we still use it, but we still know the harm that it brings them because it makes them feel uncomfortable. So why do you think we do that?
Are you asking, like, are in so many words, are you saying, like, why can we use the word and they can't? Is that what you're
No,
sort of
I'm
asking?
saying if they're in our vicinity, if they're in our presence, because I've seen this happen before. Why do we use the word in their atmosphere around them?
Because I think maybe I think for me, again, I can't speak for all all people of color, but for me, the reason, like, I may be in, like, another person's presence and I still may use the word is simply because it's a part of my language. Because if I but it also, it depends on who I'm talking to. If it's an older white, let's just say an older, not even an older white, an older couple, I will not use that terminology, because it's conscious in my mind, like, oh, these are elders. You don't use that type of language. But if I'm around people my age and they're a different race, I'll be like, yeah, we'll walk the bam, like, I'll still, like, use it. So honestly, it's just, I think for me, it depends on who I am around, and also the age group, because you subconsciously think about stuff like that. But, like, and it's also a part of it, like, it's a part of my, let's just say, it's a part of my casual vocabulary. Like, and so if I feel comfortable enough to say that word, like, if I feel comfortable enough to say that word, I will say it. But if there just happen to be other ethnicities around, like, I don't feel like we should treat them differently, like, referring to the way we speak. But I just don't feel like they should have the privilege to say that word, because it has a different meaning for us. It's a different meaning for us. And, like, I don't know. That's just my personal thing about it.
So is that in the aspect of just the N word or in all derogatory terms?
All
And
derogatory terms.
because I know sometimes, and I've met, a couple black people who have this mindset that we're really exempt from really being prejudiced. We really can't be very prejudiced, especially when it comes to saying derogatory terms or appropriating somebody else's culture.
See, my thing with that is referring to all derogatory terms. It just depends because I've seen Mexican people call other Mexicans like beaners and stuff like that in like a joking way. But if somebody else does it, they're like, "Hey, bro, you don't say that. You don't do that." And it's just kind of like y'all just said it, but it's the same thing. It's like because it's just a different meaning for different things, and like when it's like how do I explain this? Like when talking to somebody else or somebody of the same race, and like it's I don't it's kind of like as a greet, or maybe like we're just taking it so far as a joke. I feel like you can joke about it because you've been there and you not necessarily you kind of have the right to. I'm not well, of course, like freedom of speech and all that, but like your certain background has given you that. We'll just go so far to say privilege to use that word. I'm not saying it is, but I don't know what it's in like a typical Hispanic person vocabulary. But beaner is not in my everyday vocabulary. I talked to my friend and he was like, yeah, my brother just called me a beaner because I just put a whole bunch of hot stuff on my noodles or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's whatever. I wouldn't use that term because that would be but coming from my mouth, that would be derogatory. You feel what I'm saying? But then I don't know. But also I feel like everybody just wants to say the N word because it's trendy. I saw, like I said, a lot of people love black culture, but they don't love black people. So they love to copy our hair, our nails, our style, our music down to the edges. And copy our slang. But when it actually comes for rights, like how do you pronounce his name? Ahmed or Ahmed? The man who got shot jogging. Well, when it comes to them, white people are silent. Like, you see what I'm saying? So like I think it's also a culture thing, and people just want to be and then people want to exercise their my First Amendment right. I'm like, okay, well, where was your First Amendment right when we were talking about we wanted allies to get help on this man's case? Now all of y'all silent. Now all of y'all quiet. Where'd y'all go? What happened to y'all when they came in that lady's house in San Antonio and shot her 22 times? Where'd y'all go? Why aren't y'all exercising your First Amendment right? Because it's not trendy. Because then it starts shifting into reality. Then it starts shifting to, oh, people are losing their lives. It ain't got nothing to do with me. But let me steal your clothes though. Hello, so that's how I feel about it.
Do
And
you
there was
have
another
anything to? Oh, I'm sorry.
You said something else, but we'll wait for that.
Oh, but do you have anything to add on?
Speaking from like just a mixed family in general, with me being white and Mexican, the N word definitely was never in my vocabulary. My older brother's half black, half Mexican. My family, just in general, we're just like a mix of whatever. But like beaner, wetback, the N word, like any derogatory term in general was taught to us from a very young age that you should use it. Speaking on like everything that's been happening now with people not coming forward and trying to help with rights of people of color, specifically minorities in general, though, it's like when something bad happens, they don't want to be there. But when you bring out some good things, they're like, oh, let me take that to my advantage. I don't know. I think people that do that are very close minded because they feel like when people of color are successful, they're going to try and take that success away. But when something negative happens, they're going to take the negativity and throw it back at them and be like, oh no, that's you. Like, we didn't help you with that. You know? I hope that makes sense.
So, Xavier, you have anything to add on to that?
My question is, what do y'all think that they're gaining from saying the word? Like, what are they gaining out of saying this word? Because when they say it, what are they really meaning? Like, what are they gaining? Do they feel like they have power over us, or what?
Um,
Oh, Jojo, you go.
you're fine. Oh, you're fine. Okay. Well, I guess at this time I'll just go back to respond. Go to read a few comments that we have here. Um, it says, "Hey, hi, Thaddeus. Official Zay, he happy. I think that's what it is. Thank you. Lady Galore says there are low blows, and because there are known most, he wouldn't react when they say it. He also goes to say, why is it okay for us to be disrespected? Which also turns around and says, but they have taken the B word and turned it around. So, what about someone that is not black and grew up in a black family? And what's the point to fight with us when we fight against ourselves? Anybody like to respond to that?
Regarding to the what about someone that is not black but grew up in a black family? No. I say that I say no in public because you shouldn't have to explain yourself in public. Like I said, there's a time and a place for everything. You know what you went through. You know where you grew up and who you grew up around. And if you're adopted or family who took you in has been saying that and you grew up around that and you're comfortable with that word with your family, that's you and your family's business. We don't know you. You're a stranger. So people are automatically offended when they hear it because they don't know you like that. They're like, he's not black. He can't say that. It's like it's I don't want to say it's offensive. So people will automatically take that as offensive. So then you would have to go into this whole spiel about how where you grew up and whop the bam. That's great. But I feel like you should just keep that between you and your family. Also, about what's the point of fight with us when we fight against ourselves? That's a very broad, I don't say broad topic, because there's some people who say like we should conform to the government, just do what we say. I think Martin Luther, I don't want to get the names mixed up, but I think he was like, if we just do what the government says, we could, they'll let us something. I forgot exactly who he was. Don't quote me. But like, he was like, we just conform to what they say, and like, everything will be okay. We can integrate into the government. Of course, that never happened. But then people wanted to riot and wanted to revolt. I'm sorry, my mind is reading the comments. But I think also, like, I read this one comment somewhere. It was like regarding the black community, like for the black community to thrive, everybody doesn't have to agree with each other. We just have to stand together. That's what I read somewhere. So I honestly believe that. Of course, we're gonna have differences. We're human, and we grew up in different places. So of course, we're gonna have different outlooks on life and different ideals. But I mean, or not different ideals, or different motives. But I feel like if we were on one accord, just necessarily like just sick of like, or just got together and did everything as a community, and not it's either people don't know how to balance. It's either, I don't want to say whitewash, because there's I don't want to say there's no such thing, but I feel like whitewashed is like a racist phrase within itself, because it's just really weird. You know how people, I think it's almost equivalent to like, you talk white. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean I talk white? So I don't like using the word whitewash, but it's people who are very like, who are either like too pro-black to the point where they're like bump everybody else, and that's on the verge of racism, or they're like, well, it's our fault anyway because we're just all ghetto, and I'm like, what? And I just feel like we just need to find a happy medium, to where we need to meet all together, just meet and come together and just be a powerful community. I know I started rambling. I deeply apologize. So let me go eat real quick.
Cameron, what do you have to say about the question that was asked? So, what about if someone grew up in a black family, someone who is not black?
I think if a person that was not black grew up in a black family, that hopefully they would be taught that the rights and wrongs, basically. But like said earlier, definitely a time and a place. You know that you can speak upon it and not get like basically bashed on for saying it around certain people. But when you go out and you're with people that you don't know, or you're meeting for the first time, or you're just out in public in general and you say it and you're not black, it's definitely more derogatory. I don't know. I just don't like the N word in general. Anybody who says it, I mean, I understand the meaning behind it and where it came from and everything like that. But for me, growing up, it was never a word that was supposed to be said. Especially just growing up in a majority black town, going to majority a school with mostly minority people, be it people of color, Mexicans, Asians. Like, there was never specifically predominantly white people, so it was just never a word that was used anyways upon any other derogatory language. So I feel that if you grew up with somebody of color, be it adoption or just being taken in by them, that there is definitely a time and a place for it.
So, well, Xavier, do you have anything to add on that?
Yes, I just believe that you should definitely watch who you say it around, and be careful of your surroundings, and who you hang with when you're saying the word, and make sure you don't use it as, like, if you're in public or around your people, your family, just make sure you don't use it in a way that will really upset somebody. So just watch out for, other people and how they may feel about you using the word if you come from a different race, but you grew up in a black home.
So, just to get my last question on that topic. So, what if we feel as if, well, the same way we feel about the word? Well, this is my culture. I grew up around it. I've been around it for a long time. This is something that I've known since birth. Well, not since birth, but since adolescent. This is what I know. So how are you going to tell me not to say something? But it's my culture. It's something that I know. If that was clear. Was that clear when I said that, Nakai?
Are you asking like why, like what, how could, like why do I have to stop saying something that I've been doing all my life? Basically,
No, I'm
that was.
saying, what about the people that feels that way? That feels like, well, I grew up around this culture. This is my race. This is my not my race, but this is my culture. This is who I've been around. I grew up in a black home, even though I am white. This is who I've been around my whole life. So why is it that I can't say something that I grew up around? This is what I am.
For
Because
me,
I don't know. I guess you could say technically they don't know they're white or Caucasian or Hispanic or whatever, side, whatever race that person may be.
if your family, your entire family, was doing crack cocaine, and you see them doing crack cocaine, and you see that the way it is affecting them is not in a good way, do you want to do crack cocaine? And you don't, and you have a chance to get out of there. Same kind of sort of the same thing for me. Like, they treated you like their own, but like in a sense, I don't want to say that. I'm trying to be very careful. I don't want to say but you're not, because you are according to law. But you'll always, I don't want to say, Jesus, you're in the best way possible different. So you can't always do everything that they do. Just because, what did my mom used to say? Is, so if Johnny jumping off the cliff, you gonna jump off the cliff for Johnny? No, you're not. So I'm gonna say this before, around your family, that you can say whatever you want, whatever you and your family are comfortable saying, that's fine. But in public, the word should not be said, regardless of who you are. Honestly, we shouldn't be even say, like I said, it's casual talk. If I'm at a business interview, I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Like, I'm not about to do that, because there is a time and a place for everything. And in public, if you are a different race, like, that is not what you need to be spewing, because not everybody is like us, or maybe it's going to have the time to sit down and to talk about it, excuse me, and talk to me about it. I've seen things on Instagram where people get full blown beat up just by saying the word. So maybe everybody may not be as gracious, so you have to be careful, because you don't know where you are and who you're messing with, right? So you just have to be careful. That's why I say there's a time and a place for everything. Because if you're around your family and go ahead.
You guys have any statement, statements on that topic? Cameron and Xavier. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit from this topic, just cultures, appropriating cultures. I know that's something we surfaced a little bit, that we didn't really get to dig into last time. But one question I had was, with appropriating cultures, what would be the difference between appropriating and honoring? Cameron, would you like to start with that topic?
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
What is the difference between appropriating and honoring cultures?
Definitely, the difference between appropriating and honoring it is going to be the knowledge you have behind it. Appropriating it is just going to be like, "Ooh, that looks cute on her. I'm going to take it because it's going to look cute on me," not knowing the meaning behind it. Say like a specific hairstyle or clothes or anything like that. You can be like, oh, that looks good on that person, so I'm going to take it and put it on me. But you don't know the reason why they're wearing it. They could wear it for religious reasons. They can wear it for specifically for their culture. A good example would be like an Indian wedding. You're not going to take their specific clothing that they have for their wedding and wear it on an everyday basis, because that has meaning to them and that's significant to them. So honoring it would be like you're marrying somebody who has the an Indian culture with them, and that's what they do on a daily basis, and you're supporting them and having that have like multiple day celebration of the culture and honoring their what they wear and what they eat and how they do it. But taking it outside of that is definitely cultural appropriation, because then you're just saying, I can wear this every day, and that's not what it was intended for.
Have you had anything to add on to that?
Yes, I believe like when you copying somebody's culture, like for example, let's say if you know how sometimes we wear dashikis and stuff. I feel like if somebody else was to do it outside of the race, somebody will feel some type of way because they'll be like, they don't know the meaning behind it. They're just wearing it because they think they're cute, or something to like just throw on because it has the cute prints and all that. So that's an example. But I feel like honoring it. I feel like honoring it. um, I guess maybe like complimenting somebody if you see them with one on. That'll be like a huge on, like, oh, thank you. Because I know when I wear mine, I get I'd be like, thank you. Or like trying to search up some facts about it, like try to do some research behind what they're wearing. So yeah.
Nakai, you?
Um, I just feel like as long as you feel like, but at the same time, you could also accuse everybody of appropriating everything, because not everybody knows that you are knowledgeable on that culture. So then people can accuse you of appropriation. Um, honestly, just for me, it's just be careful, be knowledgeable, be aware. So if you are wearing an Indian headdress, don't wear people's cultures for Halloween, please. Like that's the big thing. I think that's the biggest thing that people have. Like I don't think that people have a problem with people actually wearing their culture and bringing light to the people's culture. I think people have a problem with, first off, it being made fun of, and also it making it seem like it's just a style when that those are people's everyday of living. So just be knowledgeable, be cautious, don't be inconsiderate and foolish. That's all I gotta say about that.
Totally. So, um, actually, I seen a comment that I was going to read, but I actually had a question similar to that comment. So, you guys believe that we shine light on selected races when they appropriate, other than not shining light as much as other races when technically we're appropriating their culture? So, Cameron, would you like to start with that?
So the question is, does one race get more attention through cultural appropriation than the next? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That's hard to say, because I also feel like that depends on the area that you're in. If it's mostly people of color, or if it's mostly Asian people, or mostly Mexicans, or I feel like it's the area you're in, because you can go to, I don't know, a certain place and be like, oh, this place is mostly this minority, so we get most of our fashion or whatever from them. But you can go to the next state and be like, oh, it's a different minority. Um, I don't know. Yes and no. You just kind of have to look at it at the area you're in, and it's hard to decipher between if it is or it isn't.
Xavier, what do you have to say for the question? Do we shine light on specific races when they appropriate?
Yes, I just feel like, what Cameron said, like your area, your surrounding areas, and just know where there's a specific time and a specific place to do certain things. So, yes.
Nakai, you?
To piggyback off Xavier, it's honestly it's just time and place is everything. Like you just don't do everything everywhere. Are you gonna pee in the middle of the street like you would do it at your house? Like no, you just do certain things in certain places. And I think people, but also people do get people who generally like the culture mixed up for people appropriating the culture. Bro, just because I said I like your earrings doesn't mean I want to be black. Like but people also, referring just to my race in general, we are quick to anger. I do believe that people are quick to cancel somebody, like over small things. Like they like sometimes like I have seen black people take something so small and make it about race. And I'm just like, what do you I'm like, this had nothing to do with race at all. And they're like, that's why black people. I was like, what? I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? And so also future topics I would like to, discuss on like the stuff that we are doing wrong too. So like, just that's future. But yeah, it's like it's just a time and place for everything. Some things don't need to be done everywhere. That's all I gotta say on that.
Totally. Well, hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, it is. If you guys didn't know what he said, so what about when we appropriate other cultures? Nobody tells us anything. And he also says African Americans are the only people who get angry when someone appropriates our culture. So hopefully, Nakai, do you have something to add to that?
False.
No. Okay.
False.
So
False. I have seen Asians. I'm in the K-pop community. I've seen Asians get so angry when people like appropriate their culture because they do. They use it as a fetish. It's a fetish. If you guys don't think that Asian fetishing is a thing, you're out of there because it is. So I've seen them go off. We're not the only people that get mad. Now we may be the most extreme. I will say that, but we are not the only people we're not the only people that get angry when people appropriate their culture. That's like, oh my God, you're stealing what we had and we had it first and you're taking all the credit. Thank you. No, that's not what they do. They get just as angry, but not as dramatic. That's what I have to say to that comment. So
totally. So my last and final question, looking at the time, but would be that what about it's because I know a lot of cultures get displayed in these cartoons and all this kind of stuff, especially like with Moana and Pocahontas and Mulan and you know all these different cultures, get oh, that's the one I can name. I can only name a few, but different cultures get displayed. So a kid, any kid, any race, looking at this culture, saying, "Well, ooh, I want to be Pocahontas." Like, what do we say to those kids that just love the character, that just want to be the character? Or I love Moana. I dress as Moana, mom, and she's not, Moana's race. She's not Samoanian or, whatever race she was. She's, Hispanic or she's white or she's black. We still, count them out. Do we say, okay, you can't wear this because, you're not their race. That's appropriating their culture. Because to their eyes, they're just seen as cartoons. So, do you have anything to add to that?
Um, I'll go ahead and say like that kind of goes back to the whole Halloween thing. Kids want to be specific cartoon or movie characters because they see it, and it's mostly to dress up for Halloween and stuff like that. I'd say definitely pour the knowledge into your kid and help them understand why it is and why it isn't okay to take it, because I can say from what I've experienced in my life that girls and boys want to be specific characters not because of their race but because they're a princess or they're a prince or they're funny in the movie or things like that. They don't understand the appropriation behind it. If they're white, they can't be Moana because they're not Samoan. But also teach the kid that if you want to be this person, why? Oh, because she's a princess. Okay, this is their culture. Help them understand why it is that this person is a great person. And um, yeah, I mean, for me, I wanted to be, I don't know, Pocahontas for Halloween one year, and my mom was like, "Yeah, no, you're gonna be Cinderella. You're white," and I was like, "Okay," but later on, she finally just sat me down and was like, "This is what you can do, and this is what you can't do, and this is what you can say and what you can't say, and you have to take in consideration everybody's feelings." I mean, I look white. I mean, I know I'm mixed, but I look predominantly white. So when I'm out with friends or I'm out with somebody who's not white, I definitely take into consideration that in public, in the eye of everybody that's around us, I'm definitely more privileged, and I understand that. But with all the cartoons and stuff, yeah, definitely teach your kid and make sure that they understand what's going on and the reasoning behind everything.
Xavier?
Yes, I say inform your kids about it, but then again, I say let them be kids because on TV, we be like, oh, I want to be her because she can sing, or I want to be him because he can dance. So I feel like with kids, I feel like it's different. Okay, I feel like as you grow up, yes, it should be like more of a. Well, I have to think about these type of people and these type of people, but I feel like as young babies, toddlers, I feel like you should inform them about the background, but then again, you should probably like let them be kids, dress up, let them express themselves and have fun.
You do believe that, Xavier, there is a certain innocence to it.
Yes.
Nakai?
That's what I was saying. Like kids are born innocent. Kids don't know that like, hey, this is I'm appropriating their culture. They don't come out with the knowledge that we have. Now, when I do, I feel like people overdo things sometimes for social media because they'll be like, I'm teaching my kid about, black culture and putting on a whole documentary and she's fully intent. No, she's not. No, she's not. She's asked for snacks three times, Karen. She doesn't care. Okay. All that kid cares about is playing that character. I feel like this kind of ties in with cosplaying for me because I've been wanting to cosplay, but I've heard that like you can't cosplay this character because you're black. It's a character. There's limitations. Now, if you're a real life person, like the perfect example of this, the Little Mermaid. You know how people are bent that Haley or is Chloe, one of them are playing the Little Mermaid. First off, she's a fictional character. She's a mythical creature. A mythical creature. She's not even like it would be but then nobody blinks an eyelash when Cleopatra in Egypt, in Africa, where people tell us to go back to, is played by a white woman. And it's just like oh yeah. Well, yeah, but it doesn't make sense. So, but regarding the kids, it's just a character. Cleopatra was based on a real person. So when people made the thing, well, why isn't for me with Tiana was is a little bit different because first off, that's the first black princess, so she has to be played by a black person. And then they bring up Mulan. Well, why don't they play Mulan by a black person? Because Mulan is based on a Chinese proverb. It's like they're based on certain things. That's a mythical creature. And then or if they was playing a lion, a tiger, or a bear, who cares? Who cares? It's a character. I actually was at work the other day and I saw a little baby girl. She happened to be white and she had a little Moana necklace on, and she was like, I'm Moana from Motunui. I was like, you go, girl. I was like, I love Moana too. You have at it. No, that girl, no, she's not Somalian. That girl, the closest thing she probably got to Polynesian is Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A. Okay, and that's okay because it's a fictional character. That for me, it doesn't matter because they're fictional characters. They and I would rather them look up to something like that than wanting to play, oh mom, I want to be like that crackhead on 63rd Street. Like, would you rather them play a princess or crackhead? Like you see what I'm saying? It's the innocence. It's the innocence of the kids. But of course when they get older, then you start teaching them everything comes at there's a time and a place for everything. You see? So when they get older, then you start exposing more to them. Hey, this is why we don't do this. This is why we don't dress like this. This is why we don't say these things. And everything's all good. And you raise an upstanding citizen. Good job. That's all I got on that.
Well, that's all I have for this segment. Thank you guys for tuning into the broadcast. I apologize if we wasn't able to read all of your comments, but this is our final episode of this topic. I know we still have many topics that we have to do, fours and all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. All social medias will be linked down below. Absolutely linked down below. You will see their faces again, follow all their pages. Do you guys have any closing statements to make? No.
Just always remember to, regardless of anything that we say here, nothing's personal. Second of all, always remember just to spread peace and love and just love thy neighbor, y'all. That's all. During these hard times, there's no reason why we should be debating on anything. I don't necessarily as minuscule as a word. We have bigger fish to fry. So just keep it positive. Just do what you need to do and just love one another. That's all I got.
If you want to, Xavier, have something to say?
I just gotta say, be you and stay beautiful. And I just want to say thank y'all again for having me. Oh my goodness, I love doing this. And yes, peace and blessings unto everybody.
Cameron, or still nothing? Still nothing. Okay. Because they all have their separate. They all have their separate projects and all the things that they're doing. So I will make sure I link on all their social medias. Please check out Nakaya's makeup page. She does beauty. It's beauty in general, not even makeup, just beauty in general. He does beauty, just beauty as a whole. Xavier, he has his YouTube channel, and he's very, very funny and charismatic. So I will make sure I link his information down below. And Cameron, I believe I think you have some projects. Do you have any projects that you would like to tell us about a little bit?
I mean, I just have my makeup page, but that's just for fun. I just do it just because. So.
Well, she does that. So follow it. Please support everybody. We support dreams on this channel. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you in